Hi, welcome to another video tutorial on Dr. Neau's Tournament Manager. In this video I will show you how to create a payout schedule. So here we are, we're at the component library on the payout schedules panel, and I'm going to create a new payout schedule. We'll call it demo. Alright, now I'm going to be modeling this payout schedule off of this. So something similar to what a lot of people use. They have different tiers of how many buy-ins or how many people have participated in the tournament, and then they pay out different percentages depending on how many people have bought in. So in my case, 1 to 15 pays 3 spots, 16 to 20 pays 4 spots. Okay, and that's just something I threw up on Notepad to show you. Alright, so in order to create my schedule, I have to make a couple decisions. First of all is the tier selection criteria. Typically it's going to be based on number of buy-ins or number of participants in the tournament. But I had some customers say, it'd be really nice if we could maybe have the tier selection be different based on how many people have rebought. So we might want to pay additional spots if a lot of people have rebought. So I've made the tool so that you can do that. I'm going to be basing it off number of buy-ins, just so you know. Round amount. How much should the prizes be rounded to? We'll say $5. And what you might notice then in the payout schedule is that the top finishers payout is not rounded to $5, and that's because the entire prize pool needs to be distributed, and because of the way you're rounding, there might be some leftover amount, either under-allocated or over-allocated, that's applied to the top place finisher. Okay, that's just the way I decided to do it. Now, I'm going to create my two tiers of my payout schedule, 1 to 15 and 16 to 20. As I'm doing that, you'll notice these consistency checks change. There are 3 different things it's looking at. So, are there gaps between the tiers? In this case, what I'm going to create, there are no gaps, but if this said 17 to 20, now we have a gap because 16 players are not handled. If this said 15 to 20, we have overlap. 15 players are handled by both tiers, and now it's ambiguous what the schedule should do. And then finally, if the percentages did not add up to 100% for each level, I would not have complete tiers, and that's what that means. So these 3 things tell me about the quality, or the correctness of my payout schedule. It doesn't tell me that it's a good payout schedule, but it tells me that it's correct. Let's create the 2 tiers. Initially, they both have a lower bound and upper bound of 1, so we have a lot of problems with this. Let's change this one. The tier editing is done over on the right, by the way, so whatever tier you have selected is displayed over on the right. Let's make this one 1 to 15, and we'll select the other one and make that 16 to 20. And you'll notice that the tiers are also sorted by lower bound, and that's always the way they're going to be sorted. Alright, so let's select the first one, and I wanted to distribute it 15, 30, 20. Alright, so initially it's 0%. I need to change how many spots I'm going to allocate percentages to. Alright. By the way, there's also the spots for fixed awards, and that means how many spots are going to receive some sort of non-cash prize. So if I want to pay out a trophy and a bracelet maybe to the first and second place finisher, I would increase that. Let's just make this a bracelet to show you that you can do that. Alright, and then finally the distribution method for the tier. Typically, you're going to be doing manual and manual. So up on top, well, let's start down the bottom. The spot count method. How many spots are we paying for this tier? And this one is going to be 3 manually. I could do this based off of some percentage of the number of buy-ins. I'll show you an example of that with my method that I use after this demo method is done. Okay, and then the percentage weighting method, I want to distribute those by hand, but those could be distributed using a formula. Let's just go ahead and type them in. 50, 30, whoops, not 300, 20. And now this tier is complete. It turns green because we have 100% distribution. Next tier is supposed to be 50, 30, 15, 5. So let's edit this one. 4 spots, and we also want to have a bracelet for the champ here. And this one's going to be 50, 30, 15, 5. And now this payout schedule is complete. I can test the payout schedule. Alright, so given all my tiers and everything, let's plug some number of buy-ins into it. So let's put 15 into it and say the prize pool was $1,000. And now refresh that, and it will tell me, okay, based on the information you're giving me, I've selected this tier on 15 buy-ins that has the range of 1 to 15. I'm rounding to $5. I've selected these percentages for that tier, 50, 30, and 20, and here's the amounts they get, and here's the non-cash prizes they get. If we said, okay, now there's 16 buy-ins, it selects a different tier with different percentage distributions in the same non-cash payout. So you can test your tier without actually creating a tournament, or sorry, test your schedule. All right, let's take a look at my core schedule, and I actually need to copy this so that we can get into some of the details of it because it's not editable unless I make a copy of it. All right, I like to, well, listen, a little history. I hate the having to have tiers and all that stuff, and I thought, why can't I just make a formula that will automatically decide how many spots to pay and the best way to distribute the percentages, and that's what I've done with the tool. So I really give you a couple different options now for your payout schedule: completely manual, completely automated, or something in between if you want. So what I've done with this one is I have one tier that covers from 1 to 1 million players, so hopefully that's going to be enough forever. I can't imagine having that many, but anyway, the distribution method for this one, if we take a look at it, not manual. In fact, down at the bottom, the spot counts, so how many spots we're paying, is decided based on a percentage of buy-in. So if 20 people buy in, we're going to pay 25% of them. If 100 people buy in, we're going to pay 25% of them. The weighting method, so how are the percentages distributed among those 25% spots? So in the case of 20 people bought in, we're going to pay 5, and we're going to distribute the percentages among them exponentially. And it uses these two parameters to decide the best way to do that. So the first is the initial spread, 50%. That means the distribution between first place and second place is going to be different by 50%. Second place gets half as much payout as first place. The decay rate means that as we go down each additional spot, that spread's going to become less. So third place might get 65% of second place, and fourth might get 75% of third. So that's how I've done that. I've also got this linear, which means the percentages are going to have the exact same difference between them for each spot. So I thought I'd provide that as an option. I don't really think it's a good way to do it, but you might decide that you want the difference between each spot to be exactly the same. So let's take a look at this by previewing it, and let's plug in 24 players. 24 players, and again, $1,000 prize pool just for the heck of it. And let's refresh that. Alright, so it's decided that it's picked my one tier that I have, obviously, rounding to 5. And we can see down on the bottom here that it's picked some pretty weird percentages, but I don't really care what the percentages are. What I really care about is what the payouts are. And we can see that first place gets $400. Second place gets pretty much half of first place, and the difference is because there was a little rounding going on here. Third place gets $70 less than second place. Fourth place gets $35 less than third, and so on. You can see it keeps decreasing. All right, and if we plug 100 players into this, oh, not 1,000, just 100, refresh that, then the payouts go as follows. So it's a really nice, equitable, automatic way of distributing your payouts. That's why I've included this one in the tool. You can create your own, but I think the formulas are a really nice addition to the payout schedule. So that's how you create a payout schedule.